Hello, everybody. Today we're talking about how Trump is losing what he values most, loyalty. MAGA is waking up. It's slow, it's quiet, but it's happening. You know, it took under 100 days for a lower prices on day one to become who needs money or a 401k when your heart is full of love for dear leader Trump. But it will take much longer to de-indoctrinate the masses. And we shouldn't fool ourselves that people who see Donald Trump as the second coming of Christ are ever going to see the light come out of anywhere else but his rear end. However, we shouldn't be blind to the changes either. They're there, palpable, useful, and promises. In their fervor to own the libs, tons of Trump voters already lost their jobs, businesses, income, ability to support their families, access to medication, a relationship with their children, etc. Sound horrible? Well, that's because it is. And is the kind of impact some people need to change their minds about the Orange Messiah. Truth be told, some of them will never get there, no matter how much Trump hurts them. But some are already crying about it. Most of them do it in silence, though. It's difficult to admit to your own stupidity or even acknowledge it, but I assure you, there are a lot more people who regret it than there are those who admit they do. Changes are there. Don't lose hope. Are they too small to matter? Well, yes, absolutely, they are. For the time being, they are too small to matter. It's difficult to stop the authoritarian snowball once it's in motion, rolling down the hill at full speed and turning into an avalanche that torpedoes people's lives. We shouldn't expect anything to happen overnight. History is slow, it's tedious, and it's hard to shift course. For example, it took the Baltic countries 50 years to get rid of Russian occupation, almost a lifetime. And while that seems daunting and overwhelming, also keep in mind that nothing is occupied yet except the minds of Americans that voted red. This is the time to keep fighting. All snowballs are hard to stop once they get going, so let's get ours going. The beginning is the hardest part. Also, keep in mind that the last time the Republicans imposed tariffs, they lost the House and Senate for 60 years. How about that snowball? Here's what Rand Paul, a Republican senator from Kentucky, told Fox News. Tariffs have also led to political decimation. When President William McKinley most famously put tariffs on in 1890, they lost 50% of their seats in the national election. When Smoot and Hawley put on the tariff in the early 1930s, we lost the House and the Senate for 60 years. So they're not only bad economically, they're bad politically. Now, here are just 4 cases of Trump voters affected by their own choice that haven't yet been widely publicized. For example, here's what Craig Fowler had to say. I enthusiastically supported Trump's victory in the November election. I thought I was voting for pro-business policies and small targeted and incremental tariffs that would encourage the production of strategic industries to return to the Americas. You weren't only voting for that, i.e., what we got in the first administration. I did not vote for a neutron bomb to wipe out supply chains and small businesses 100 days in. Well, obviously you did. Sinful Skin says, yesterday, a MAGA coworker told me he had renewed his application for food stamps and was denied. His monthly allotment went from $400 to $0. Now he's wondering how he's going to feed his family. It seems elections have consequences. Yes, they do. And you know what? They were obvious to a lot of other people who didn't vote for this guy. Why weren't they obvious to Trump's voters? For those asking, yes, voting for Trump was a mistake. I thought we'd get a repeat of the first administration, but we didn't. The first was not so great. This one is just much worse, but the first one was bad as well. The signs were there. I just did not take my own ideas about the awfulness of Trump and MAGA seriously enough. Yeah, that's a problem, that you didn't take him seriously. Oh, he's just talking. So if he's just talking, why are you voting for him? If he's just talking, not seriously talking, it means he's just lying. So why would you vote for a liar? And then there's somebody who answered to him, first public person I've seen admit they made a catastrophically stupid decision in 2024. Many more to come. Congrats, Richard. Yes, many more to come. Some probably not as vocal, but yeah. Then Samola says, I supported Donald Trump in this presidency. I was behind him in comparison to Harris, believe he would end the Russia-Ukraine war, reduce unemployment, lower inflation, create jobs. Also read to you a bedtime story. Did you believe that as well? What the fuck? Create jobs, but his current actions since the tariff made me realize that he is selfish. He was selfish before. That's everything he is. He's selfish. And cannot provide the necessary growth America needs. Right now, I am one of his biggest critics, but not bigger than me. Hey. He's not fit for presidency and to lead this country to that greatness. I will stand against him. I want Donald Trump out of the White House. Well, we all do. Just as a side, we should call them snowflakes because they're the first contributors to our snowball. Anyway, of course, this is just anecdotal evidence, and there's plenty more of it everywhere on the news and social media. But we also have hard data. And the quote I'm going to mention here is from an article by G. Elliot Morris on Substack. I'll link it in the description, and you'll see it's chock full of data if you're interested to do a deeper dive. He says, today, Trump's average net economic disapproval in YouGov's polls over the last month is -6, meaning 6 percentage points more American adults disapprove of the way he's handling the economy than approve of how he's handling it. A rough difference of about 16 million adults. That is worse than at any point during his first term. Even during the beginning of the COVID pandemic, Trump's monthly average net economic approval in YouGov's polls was net positive at +3. So, as you can see, the data is there. MAGA is waking up. Not all of them, not even most of them, and definitely not the culty part of them. But America doesn't need all of them to win. It only needs the difference that it lost by, and that won't be difficult to achieve with how things are going. The only question is, should you take them back? What will blue Americans do when all the maggots who are loud and proud about owning the libs, trash-talking the woke, and screaming cry harder come back to the libs they owned? Who will you be when the Trump bubble bursts? Will you be the all-inclusive tolerant Democrat, or the fire-spewing human who can no longer trust someone who voted against the rights of women, minorities, and common sense for the price of eggs? If you ask me, it's an easy answer. They fucked around and found out, okay? Their decision doesn't only affect them. It has a massive impact on all Americans, on the entire United States and the world. The global order is being thrown into chaos because of these nitwits. Now, I agree this can only be a very individual and personal decision, but let me ask you this. Can you trust those who voted against your rights? Those who voted against their own rights and those of their children? I don't think these people can be easily trusted back into anyone's life. I, for one, I'm sick of coddling people, sick of understanding, sick of holding space for those who never hold space for me. They're not even considering holding space for me or anyone else. No, I will not be the bigger person. We can't constantly be the bigger people for the smaller people. I'm sorry, but they just need to grow up. People need to learn from their mistakes, or they will never grow out of them. That's what the tolerant left needs to learn as well. Yes, we're tolerant of what people are, but not of what people do. They voted for a convicted felon who bragged about taking rights away from people. Nobody tricked them. They knew who he was and still chose him. And we should take them back. It's preposterous. They were wrong. They made their mistake. They paid dearly for it. We all are. And only when they were personally affected did they finally understand they made the wrong choice. A shitty way to get there. It didn't matter to them until it was their ass on the line. Will they vote fascist next time? Yes, because that's who they are. The moment they feel the slightest discomfort, they lean towards the extreme and controlling side of things instead of collaboration. They're all interested in the same game that Donald Trump plays, the zero-sum game. They want to win everything, and it doesn't matter that everybody else loses everything. And these are the people we're supposed to forgive for making the wrong decision. They didn't make the wrong decision. They made the right one, the right decision according to their character and personality. MAGA is waking up, slowly but surely, and that's wonderful, for themselves and for the world. But if they want to be part of civilized society, they will have to prove they're civil themselves. What do you think? Will you take them back if and when they do come back to their senses? Let me know in the comments. Thank you for being here. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you next time.